We are now on to the video storytelling Avalanche, which is the third module in this free short course to help you start video marketing like a master Amani channel here. And do you notice anything different? I'll give you a hint. So I was looking at the first couple of videos. I was like, man, I don't look very smooth. I can do something to improve my appearance. So I trimmed it up. And, it's amazing that when you feel fresher, you feel more confident. So just a hint to you. If you don't feel confident, make sure you're looking the part. And that can help you step it up. All right, so what are we talking about here? Let's hop in to the slides. So this is the video storytelling Avalanche, part of the short course, of course. And this is my guarantee to you that you will know exactly how to create a video that will build your brand or company's influence, impact, and attract leads without spending tons on equipment and time. And I will say, even if right now you're still terrified of making videos. So that's kind of my sweet spot there. And if you watched the last video in this module, in this short course, I went over the Video Confidence Accelerator, which is my 6-part framework to help you become camera confident quickly. All right. Now you're in the right place. This is talking all about storytelling. So if you're a coach, expert, or service-based business, you need to tell stories that will create instant rapport. And of course, we're talking about that know, like, and trust, which is also important to attracting new clients. You're a novice content creator who doesn't really understand how to tell a story with video. All right. You have a burning desire to share your story with the world, but you don't know what kind of stories to tell. So I'm gonna I went an extra step and actually included a bunch of different ideas and frameworks on different stories that you can tell and different video content that you can use to tell stories. All right. You want to create a brand that people can touch, but the technical aspects of video making is overwhelming. You don't even know where to start. You're ready to invest in yourself and start making videos, which right now the only investment you're having to make is the time. And I'm trying to keep these videos kind of short. This one might run a little bit longer than the 15 minutes or so that the last couple videos were, but let's hop into it. All right, so this is from a former anchor at my station in Tampa, and I just found this screencast. I thought I'd share it with you. Looking back at the great stand-up reporters that I threw to for live shots, this was one of the best at WTVT with one of the best names for TV, Amani Channel, now at Fox 5 in Atlanta in creative services. His family name used to be Frequency, but he changed it for TV use. Great job, Amani, and thanks for all of your help. Just a little funny little thought there from John Wilson, who now is retired and doing his thing down in Tampa. All right, so if you watched the first video, like I just shared my story and I kind of just read the slides. The second version of the second video, I use visuals. So I use both video and photos to kind of cover the story. And so this is I don't know what I'm going to do for this one. Maybe I'll show actual video that I created. I don't know. We'll see. All right. But I am from where? East Palo Alto, California. And if I didn't clarify, that's in the Bay Area, Northern California. It's in between San Jose, San Francisco, and Oakland. It's right. It's on the peninsula, though. All right. And the news was always coming out. I mean, I remember the news would always come out whenever something bad was going on. And the news does the same thing today. And I used to wonder, why doesn't the news cover any positive stories? And so my curiosity led me down a kind of a windy path. I started community college. I traveled out of state to Florida, University of Florida, where I continued my studies. Started off in sports. And then by the time I got to DC, my first TV job, because you got to travel if you're working in broadcasting, I really found my sweet spot in the newsroom. And that's when I really cut my teeth and learned storytelling. And there's the also infamous photo of me with my head down like that, looking during a live shot, where I forgot what I was going to say. And I learned the ins and outs of video production and storytelling from Rod Finch. Really helped me out. So he was my mentor, and I've gone to have a very successful media career, which has stretched some 25 plus years. So we're talking about storytelling, and I'm going to get into this. I'm going to share this a little bit later, but I'm going to preface this by saying Oh, and if you stick around, you will get a free bonus. So it's a brand new bonus for you. So please stick around to the end because I think you'll find a lot of value from it. And just know that you can do it. Regardless of your challenges, you can do it. All right? You really can. All right, so today's lesson is storytelling, video storytelling. This is the Avalanche. So there are only two mistakes with storytelling that I could think of. The first mistake is if you don't tell stories. And the second mistake is if you tell the wrong story. What I mean by that is stories that don't really resonate with your audience, don't resonate with your client, random stories. And the thing about stories are kind of funny because depending upon who's watching your video, pretty much any story can relate to anyone, possibly anyone. But you really want to be focused on stories that really matter and may have a strong resonance with your audience. I will say that. Now, why do you want to build stories? Why do you want to use stories? Well, stories build rapport. Stories will attract. Stories teach. Stories lead to sales. And stories have a way of captivating the audience's attention, their imagination. And it can really be a passive thing where you can sort of sit back and just listen. Like, think about bedtime stories when your parents read you bedtime stories. You kind of just sat back, listen passively. Your imagination gets going. You can visualize the scenes as the pages are being read to you. You don't really have to think a lot, right? You really don't. All right, so what is storytelling for business though, right? So I have to look this up, and I found a great definition on a LinkedIn page. Storytelling in business is the process of telling a story rather than listing facts when communicating with current or potential customers. It helps businesses stand out from their competitors, providing their customers with a storyline in which they will remember them. Stories in the business help large brands connect with customers in a deeper, more meaningful manner. And that really sums it up. So that's the benefits of storytelling, right? So these are the fundamentals. Your stories should help you or demonstrate how you can solve a problem. All stories should have beginning, middle, end. This is actually what I was going to tell a few minutes ago. But so when I was working in Tampa as a reporter, the assistant news director, who is now the news director, he told me, he said, "Hey, Channel, all you got to do is tell stories. And every story should have a beginning, middle, and end. And what should the beginning be? Well, the beginning should be an intro. The middle should be the problem that you found a solution for. And the end should be a call to action." All right, it's just a general framework. And with video, you're talking about a visual medium. So your stories should be visual in some kind of way. So when I can, I try to cover up me talking on camera with maybe video with photos, something visual to help reinforce my experience or my stories that I'm sharing with you. And that's what I really did in the last module when I was telling my story, my origin story. All right. So this is the storytelling avalanche. So what I have discovered is a storytelling arc that builds pretty much instant rapport. And I've also developed and discovered a method of creating sales videos without you ever talking on camera. And stories that will really position you as a thought leader, all right? And in the end of the day, you want to create stories that sell. And that's really what I'll be sharing with you in this particular module. All right. So stories that build rapport. What kind of stories can you create to build rapport? Well, an about me story. So your business or your personal origin story. Case studies are great. Educational content is great. And client generated videos, which I just created that. User generated videos by your clients. But it's the, client generated videos by your clients. Now, these are the specifics of an about me story. So it's a great way to introduce your story, your personal story, to the audience. They build instant rapport. If you frame this correctly and you tell this story the right way, you will build instant rapport. You will share your challenge, solution, and relate it to your audience. And if you use the hero's journey framework, so the hero's journey, if you don't know what the hero's journey is a framework used in movies like Star Wars, Die Hard, The Matrix, where the main character, the main hero of the story has a regular mundane life. He's called to some sort of adventure. He learns or has some sort of epiphany during his adventure, and then he comes back and then he helps others or helps spread the love in some kind of way, helps share his knowledge with others or helps others. That's really the framework. And, Luke Skywalker, Neo, right? These are all hero's journey stories, right, with these characters. Now, what about a case study? So a case study is a great way to show social proof that your methods actually work. You can share stories from successful students and focus on their pain and how you helped provide relief and helped change their outcomes. All right, that's a great way to use case studies to demonstrate to your audience that what you're telling them actually works. All right, educational content is great, right? So you'll be solving problems, you'll be teaching and sharing your expertise, tips, or hacks. Lists are really great. So the 3 best video cameras for vloggers, right? Or the 10 best things that you should do if you want to start creating videos now. Those are the kind of lists. And make your content for your ideal client. So that's always important, right? Because you want it to be relatable. You want them to understand it. You want your ideal client. The riches are in the niches. And so if you're able to really hone in on who your client is, that's really where you can have some great success telling stories. And then client generated videos. So these are videos that your clients will record for you. They can be testimonials. Cell phone video is okay as long as you know how the phone needs to be oriented. So if it's for like a story, you got to know where. So this goes back to your planning phase, right? You have to know where your content's going to be shared or published. And so depending upon if it's for YouTube or maybe it's for a short or a reel or TikTok, I mean, it could be horizontal or your camera can be vertical if you're doing a cell phone video. So you have to know how you're going to use the content almost before it's created, or else you could have your person record it both ways, vertical and horizontal. But you have to know, like, that's part of the planning process. That's what I mean by you have to begin with the end in mind. You have to know what the end result's going to be, where you're going to share it, etc. And then the last point is you want to provide your clients with some basic instructions on the messaging. So what do you want them to say? What do you want them to touch on? That is perfectly fine because, you tell them you want to just have an honest feedback and what their experience was with you. What would you say to someone who was thinking about, this is just an example. What would you say to someone who was thinking about joining my program? Or, you want to be honest and genuine, but you do want to provide some direction before creating a client-generated video because, people want to provide you with content that you're actually going to use and be helpful. So it's always good to provide some direction for them. Now, here's some other ways you can leverage video. You can create a video podcast. And video podcasts are very popular these days. A lot of content creators will have like an interview segment where they're interviewing another expert. They'll use the audio and repurpose it on one of the podcast platforms. They'll also have video content that's on YouTube, etc. Interviews, of course. News, so you can aggregate news content, and there's some guys on YouTube who do that very well. From Twitter to the online space, they're grabbing all these news items, and a lot of these are niche kind of news items, so maybe beyond the mainstream, but for their audience, they find it really helpful because this person will become their source for news, even though they're really not originating the news, if that makes sense. Narrated pieces with sound bites. So in news, we call this a package where you have a little bit of narration. The fire broke out at whatever the address is at 5 o'clock. Neighbors were seen scrambling from the house when firefighters arrived. And there'll be a sound bite. Yeah, fire broke out. We didn't know what was happening when we were sleeping, etc. So this could be a business video, of course, but it'd be the same format where you have some narration, a sound bite narration, motion graphics, so animated pieces could work well for telling your story. You really have to do some research and brainstorm. And then skits. When I think of skits, I think of more comedy pieces, but you never know. It could be a creative skit that you create for your brand that really resonates with your audience. So these are just ideas to help the creative juices flow. All right. So what happens when you become video fearless? All right. So this is what Kenny Rushing, who is a real estate investor down in Tampa, Florida, a good friend of mine, This is Kenny. That's him on the right. I think he's on the right there with his hands like this. That's Kenny sitting next to Judge Mathis, I think. He says, please listen to everything my video mentor says. A modding channel coached me nearly 15 years ago. And if not for his help, I would not have made millions with my TV commercials, interviews, infomercials, and internet video sales letters and squeeze pages. Thank you, modding. Without you, it wouldn't have been possible. You are the best. Thank you, Kenny. So are you. All right. And then I have one more for you. This is Shana Atkins. I don't know if I'll read this whole one, but let's see. I'll pick it up. LinkedIn approached ADCO about joining their LinkedIn learning platform after seeing me speak, and I was very anxious about the opportunity. I hate recording video content. I'm not always focused on looking the part, and I was pretty intimidated to be called out as an industry expert on one of the largest social media platforms in the world. I approached him with my fears, and he coached me through it. Not only did we successfully close the contract with LinkedIn, we recorded demo videos and built a solid relationship with them. I really came out of my shell and leveraged video during my Black Friday campaign. I've come into my look, I've settled into my affirmations, and I know that video will be what changes the game for us in 2020. Y'all, everything you need is in the mastermind. In the midst of chaos, he helped me navigate closing this deal with patience and dedication. I'm indebted to you, Money Channel. I really think you can help a lot of us scale as service-based businesses, etc. So Shana was, I was in a mastermind, and Shana was one of my fellow masterminders, and I saw her speak. She spoke at one of the events, and then she came out and approached me at one of the breaks, and then I ended up working with her, etc. But it's one thing I said, I'm gonna do this the right way this time. It's one thing to read a testimony on screen record, but it's another thing to hear the person speak in their own voice. So now that you've seen this version of it, let's let Shana tell you in her own words.
Video is kind of one of those things that from a social media perspective, from a content perspective, it is critical, it is important, it's actually necessary at this point. I'm actually really comfortable on the stage, and I had done a couple of speaking engagements. Actually, I had been just flew to the Radical Research Summit in Vancouver, Canada. Right after my speaking engagement, I'm in the bar and a guy says, hey, I think you'd be a great trainer for LinkedIn Learning. The next day, LinkedIn Learning reaches out, and I just realized that though I feel comfortable on the stage where I'm sharing my story, when it comes to video, I just don't naturally connect the same way. I was afraid that if I didn't get some help that I would sabotage the situation, and I've done it in the past, and I just didn't want that to happen. So I was actually at another speaking engagement on the stage, and I walked outside and I saw the founder of Video Fearless, Amani Channel. And it's like when I saw him, I was like, you are exactly what I need. My anxiety levels are really high. I had a deadline to get some content over to LinkedIn Learning to confirm that we could do, that I was a fit. And I was like, just please, like, let's find some time. Amani was patient, and he helped to address not only just my presence and tools and tips and tricks to show up better in video. I did close that contract with LinkedIn Learning. I actually ended up launching a whole new kind of digital product around courses because I was able to record content for Black Friday. I just started to record my story more. Like, you actually will find me now. I like have a tripod in my backpack. Like, I actually upgraded my phone so that I can record video and record my story more. I think I do actually have a story as to why I started my business and the journey that I'm trying to get to. I have very specific goals, and people want to hear that. Like, I'm a woman in tech, I'm a woman of color. There's not a lot of people who have my profession that look like me, and I realized that video will help me to actually get that out there, and people want to hear that. And it's like Amani Channel helped me almost like come into myself a little bit. So I'm thankful to him for that. My recommendation is that you reach out to Amani Channel of Video Fearless, and you engage with some of his curriculum and coaching, because really he is the key, and he will help a lot of us kind of scale past that billable hour.
All right, thank you so much, Shayna. So do you see the difference? Like when you hear the person speak with conviction, with passion, they're encouraging the audience to do something, it can really resonate, right? It can almost make you want what they've experienced. And so that's the power of video. And in this example, I didn't have to record a single video, right? I recorded her sharing her experience. So this is a testimonial type of video, case study slash testimonial, and it can really help paint the picture of the service that that you can provide to someone, or in this case that I provided to Shayna. But it's just to give you an example. All right. So it is time for the free bonus. And so I think you'll find a lot of value out of this. This is a bonus video for you. This is a free video storytelling for business with Lisa Bloom, who's a masterful storyteller. She elaborates on the storytelling for business idea, how you can really frame your stories, how you can create that immediate know, like, and trust. She kind of elaborates on a lot of the things that I've touched on. But this is a very insightful interview, and I think you'll find a lot of value out of it. So grab your phone, grab the QR code, and watch the interview now, or watch it later. But that will it'll add a lot of value to you, I hope. Hopefully you've been enjoying this short course. I've been enjoying teaching this. You know, I haven't really taught in a minute, and I really enjoy when I get into my mode of teaching, I realize how much I really enjoy sharing my experiences and my stories, and helping you understand my passion for video. Before we go further, I do want to close out by saying, I hope you understand what a powerful medium video is. That's why I'm so passionate about this stuff. Like, you know, people thought I was a thug, like, because the news coverage when I was growing up in my community. And so I know how the media can shift perspectives. Now that this medium is in our hands, we can use it as a force of good. All right. And I'm not saying the news isn't good, but I'm just saying that the news isn't always positive. We can share our positivity, our services that really add value to help other people. Now using video, we can, the playing field has been leveled certainly in a lot of ways with this internet technology, with this technology that's in everyone's hands. And I hope you are serious about taking advantage of it. All right. I am on my channel. This is how you can contact me. We can connect on LinkedIn. Let's talk. I'm always open for connecting and networking with like-minded individuals. So with that, I will see you in module number 4. And what is that one? Module number 4, storytelling, the video gear house. Bing! Because you need some gear, right? And so I'm going to share everything that you need, whether you have a low budget, whether you're starting with no budget, or you have something to invest to really get started, which hopefully you do, because, it does take equipment, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of hustle. All right, I'm on the channel. We'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.